Lee Murray was a rising star in the UFC, a knockout artist feared by even the best fighters in the world. But behind the scenes, he was planning the biggest cash robbery in British history. This isn't just a story about a fighter, it's a story of a criminal mastermind who nearly got away with it all. Lee Murray, Lee Lightning Murray. Those of you that are from the same, area as me, you would know about Lee Murray. Everybody knows about Lee Murray. And if you don't, then you must have been living under a fucking rock, mate. But man like Lee Murray was an up and coming MMA fighter from Greenwich, Woolwich to be specific. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. As much as his career was very short, the way Joe Rogan, the way Dana White, the way other fighters have spoke about Lee Murray, they speak very highly of him. Even Dana White, I can't remember the exact quotes, but Dana White said he was a real life. He was a real life gangster, criminal. Let's just say Lee Murray was McGregor before McGregor, and if you want to compare the two, this is the differences I'll give you. McGregor was witty with it. He had the trash talk, but Lee Murray grew up around that his whole life. Like, he was really out here in the streets, as most of you guys will know. He was living two lives, which a lot of fighters tend to do that, man. A lot of fighters tend to mix the roads, and not mix it, but they were one half they're on the roads, and the other half they're training, whether it's MMA or boxing. But yeah, man, obviously he was originally born in Bermondsey. I don't know when he actually moved to... he wasn't born in Bermondsey. He was actually born in Plumstead, but a lot of his family comes from Bermondsey, and he grew up in Woolwich. I believe it was Connaught Estate. And to be honest, I don't want to talk too much about... And that's mad, I'm reading here, he went to Foxfield Primary School, and you know what's crazy? I used to live... Those of you that know where Foxfield is, I used to live literally, like, if you're going down the hill, literally as soon as you pass Foxfield, there's an estate on the right, Dawson Close. I used to live there. That's actually crazy. And yeah, like I said, I don't want to talk too much about, the other stuff concerning Lee Murray. I just want to talk about, shine some light on him, man, because I know that a lot of people do know about him, but essentially he was the McGregor before the McGregor, because he really lived this in real life. Like, it wasn't a joke, it wasn't a facade. I'm not saying McGregor was a facade, but Murray was really living. Like, that's what you got in the press conferences in front of the camera is what you get behind the camera. So, Lee Murray was essentially the McGregor before the McGregor. He was fighting out of London Shoot Fighters. I'm guessing that is the one, because they have one in East London and they have one in, I believe it's towards Wembley sides, I think. I might be wrong, but I know it's not close. Lee Murray has a record of 12-2. The two losses came one by submission and one by decision. He has 8 wins, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. So, I mean, that just shows you he was a finisher. He finishes fights. They don't go the distance, except with 2 guys. And it's a shame, to see what ended up happening with Lee Murray. And I'm going to do a part 2, maybe even a part 3. We'll look into, the case and whatnot surrounding Lee Murray. He's still currently in jail now. Like I said, because I'm going to do a part 2, I'm not going to get too much into detail about that. I'm not even going to give my thoughts on that, even though I do feel like he was wrongfully done. But we'll get into that in another conversation. But let's actually have a look at Lee Murray's record here. So here's Lee Murray's record, guys. As you can see, his last ever fight, before everything went left, was against none other than Anderson Silva. And this was for the middleweight championship, Cage Rage. It's a shame because Cage Rage isn't even about anymore. But if Cage Rage was still about, a lot of UK guys from the UK would be fighting on there, and they would be able to make a name for themselves. I feel like there was a lot more promotions back then, and it's mad because the promotions that were around there, they weren't, I wouldn't say as big as Cage Warriors or the UFC, but back then, man, you could be fighting for some of these organizations and you will make it to the UFC. I feel like it was a bit easier. Now, there's just so many promotions that, I just feel like it's kind of filtered out that, whereas back in the day, I'm guessing scouts would be always looking. Now there's just so many promotions. It's like, okay, But his last fight he ever fought was against Anderson Silva, and it's funny because even after Anderson Silva found out about what happened to Lee Murray, obviously they made a documentary about it, and Anderson Silva, he was very emotional, man. He was very emotional because it's so crazy. Like, look at the trajectory of both of their lives. They fought, and then after that, Anderson Silva went to the top of the world. And Lee Murray, essentially, his life is ruined. So it's just crazy how, you cross paths with people and then, your lives can go two separate ways. Obviously, Anderson Silva is the best guy he fought. And there is a guy that he fought that was, I believe it's Anderson Silva's boy. And let's actually let me play this clip quickly for some of you guys, so you guys can get a little feel of what Lee Murray was like, and we'll get into some other stuff after. Where is this video? Sorry, guys. Bro, where's this fucking clip, man? Guys, it's looking long for me to find it, man. I can't lie. Wait. Sorry, guys. Apparently, Connor and Chamai have linked up. I need to make a video about that. I need to watch that. I think here it is. Yeah, here it is, guys. Here it is. Here it is. It's going to be a bit blurry because it's old, but...
Hold it down. You got that, Terry? Switch it. Go. Okay. Get down. Bang your fucking head off.
Let's go on all you guys together, yeah?
Yeah.
Whole team.
One picture together.
One picture of you. This side, guys. Bring on this side, yeah? All together.
Terry. Jacob, wat doe je nou? We staan er nou lang op.
Terry.
Ja.
Terry, buddy.
Let's go.
You're going where your mate Pele went, on the canvas, on your back.
That's it, 3 months, isn't it?
Here we go. This way.
Keep on with it.
Okay,
Way, gents. Move this way, gents. All of you, please.
You got your camera in the way. Look this way, please.
I see. We'll see what you got tomorrow. We'll see what you got. We'll see what you got.
Where's Pele? Tell him Pele's still sleeping. Tell him Pele's still sleeping. They're going home now. Pele and who's that guy? Silva? What was his name? What's his name?
See what he's got.
They're going to be sitting together watching the sunset in Brazil. Huh? Right? You okay? You calm?
Alright guys, so as you guys can see, that's Lee Murray for you. Bruv, he's crazy, man. Crazy guy. Where's your boy Pele? Your guy down. Where's your boy Pele? And guys, you know, it's a shame, yeah, because I was having this conversation with my friend just the other day. Lee Murray, yeah, he represents the guy like me and a lot of guys that are like me and where we come from. Like, this is, like, I know we have British fighters now in the UFC, but this was raw, man. This was the real raw British, what's the word I'm looking for? This was a real raw British character that so many people from the UK could relate to. And it's such a shame that what happened to him happened, because I do believe if Lee Murray didn't catch the sentence he caught and he continued fighting, I do feel like the MMA scene in the UK would be a lot bigger than it is now. I do feel like him, because he got to the UFC. Obviously, he was having drama. It was the UK government. They didn't allow him. I think they stopped him from getting a visa, so he couldn't travel back to America and whatnot, which essentially did actually ruin his career. I know, listen guys, I know he was, you know, doing a lot of shit in the streets, but when someone's trying to change their life, it's even like with the music. When people, it like happened to gigs, he was, I forgot, he wasn't allowed, he wasn't played on radio or something. I can't remember what it was, or he was banned from America for 10 years or something. And this is the sad part about things here. Don't get me wrong. I know, listen, I'm not saying it's good to be a criminal and to have a criminal past, but when you can see somebody is actually trying to change their life and you're stopping them from leaving the country, all you're essentially doing is keeping that person in the same environment to do the same things. So as much as we can blame Lee Murray, you're a product of your environment, man. Like, what else is he going to do? If that's his only way he knows how to make money is to be a criminal, but he's had an opportunity to start fighting and better his life, but the government has stopped that, the police have stopped that. So what is he going to do? He's going to resort back to what he knows. Of course he is, like most people would. And like I was saying, it's sad because I do feel like if Lee Murray stayed active and he didn't catch his case, the UK MMA scene would have been bigger than where it is. Like, for example, we are still behind when it comes to the wrestling. I do feel like the wrestling would have come leaps and bounds from then if Lee Murray was still active, because people would have realised a lot. Think about it. Lee Murray would have started the spiral effect. More UK fans would have wanted to do MMA. More people from the UK would have got into the UFC, would have got into these big organisations. And then we would have started realising, okay, the wrestling in the UK is still behind. We need to up the game. How do we improve it? How do we get better? How do we get on the same level as these other guys from America, from Russia, etc., etc.? And don't get me wrong, the MMA scene in the UK is it's in a decent place. But I do feel like if Lee Murray was around, it would have been, you know, much bigger, because now we've had Leon Edwards, Tom Aspinall as champions. So, you know, we've also got Paddy Pimblett in the UFC. We've got Arnold Allen. We've got, I forgot his name, featherweight. I can't think off the top of my head, but you guys know who I'm talking about. We've got Lorna Kavanagh in the flyweight division, but there's still not a lot of UK fans in the UFC. And I'm not going to lie, there should be a lot more. But yeah, it's just a shame what happened to Lee Murray. I'm going to do some more videos regarding Lee Murray. We'll break down some of his fights as well in part 2. Part 3, that's going to be about, you know, the case he caught and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, honestly, it's a shame, man. It's a shame. Even before I go, before I go, yeah, we'll get into that as well in the next video, in part 2. Lee Murray allegedly knocked out Tito Ortiz in a street fight. I don't know how true that is, but I'm not gonna lie. Listen, you see what people need to understand, yeah? You see Lee Murray, he's from South London, bro. And you see when you're from South London, you just have a different aura, you just have a different energy, the way you carry yourself, the way you even deal with certain situations. So I don't think it's far-fetched to believe that Lee Murray knocked out Tito Ortiz in a street fight, because this is the reality. Listen, street fighting and cage fighting is two different things. Yes, there's similarities, but they're two different things. Lee Murray comes from a world, especially in those days, it's a bit different. It was a bit different when I was growing up. The weapons became a bit more, common. Don't get me wrong, even Lee Murray himself, he's been stabbed. But I do feel like in his day, there was a lot more fist fights and jumping people and whatnot. And I'm not going to lie, in a street fight, he probably would beat a lot of guys. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is what he's used to. It's what he knows. So I don't think it's far-fetched to believe that Tito Ortiz was knocked out by him. And even when Tito Ortiz has been asked, his response is a bit funny. So I do believe and it's not just Lee Murray that said it. Other fighters have said it. So I believe it. So yeah, that's a little breakdown of Lee Murray. Obviously, like I said, guys, he's from Woolwich. He's 47 years old. He's currently serving a 25-year sentence for, I think it's the biggest bank robbery in European history. I might be wrong. Part 3, when we cover it, we'll get the facts and whatnot right. But it was definitely one of the biggest, definitely the biggest in the country, for sure. 53 million, mate. So, but like and subscribe, guys. Comment below. Please hit the subscribe button. I see you guys. Honestly, don't think it goes unnoticed. I see you guys subscribing, but keep hitting that subscribe button. And I'll be back again tomorrow, man.